2026 is the year of potential. I feel like this year has more potential than any other year. More LEGO photography, more POV LEGO photography, which I wish I did a lot more last year. Maybe a few huge collabs on the way that you might not expect, but this year is definitely, we're gonna hit the ground running for this year for sure. Best believe this is gonna be an expensive year, but it's gonna be a year full of brand new LEGO photography ideas. But in the meantime, I put up on my Instagram asking if you guys had some questions you want to ask me, and hopefully I can give you some answers. Last time I did this was almost 2 years ago, and boy, it was embarrassing. Put a story up asking for you guys to send me questions, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna hopefully ace some cues. It was very monotone, barely had any enthusiasm, and my friends were very supportive of this. But hopefully you can learn a little bit more about me, and yeah, let's get into the first question. Will you try to do the review the viewers LEGO photography more often? Yes, I've actually got it planned for at least 5 or 6 times this entire year. If you're unfamiliar, I do little videos where I get people to send through their best LEGO images and I review them on the channel. So if you have any favorite LEGO photos you want me to review, follow me on Instagram and you'll be able to see when I set up an email list where you can send them through. So we're definitely going to do a whole lot more with that series. How do you edit your pictures? Obviously Photoshop, but what things do you do? Well, mostly I use Lightroom to change the colors and the hues and the saturation. And then if I'm ever removing or adding anything, I'll use Photoshop. But this year I'm trying to be a little bit more subtle with my color changes. Lightroom and Photoshop is my primary source of editing softwares. Helpful tips for people starting LEGO photography. I mean, choose your favorite character and just go and shoot it where you think it would be suited if it was a real character. For example, if you're shooting Gandalf, if that's your favorite character, where do you see him most likely? Either in Hobbiton or in the mountains or in a field or something like that. It will fit perfectly into the scene. I think the best advice I could give is just picture where that figure would be if it was a real life person, and then you let your imagination do the work and you can picture him right where he's supposed to be, basically. Also, another tip is to get eye level with the character. That is always my go-to tip, as you want to make the viewer feel like you're a part of their world, and the best way to do that is to shoot them from eye level, because if you're shooting a real person, you wouldn't photograph them from this really tall height. You'd photograph them at the level that they're at. Same thing applies for the LEGO. So 3 tips: shoot at eye level, choose your favorite character, and imagine where they would be if they're a real life person. How do you come up with what seems like endless ideas? I mostly get my ideas, it's usually from the LEGO sets that are released. I just kind of picture or imagine where they would be if they were, you know, the real life character. Either that, or I'll see a lot of stuff on Instagram or YouTube, and I'll just basically, I'll look at real life images and imagine what it could look like as LEGO figures. I also get my inspiration from Pinterest. I know it's a bit of a beaten down app when it comes to photography and finding inspiration, but I think it can be really helpful in just kind of like directing somebody towards an idea, because there's a lot of art on there and a lot of posters and stuff like that, especially for Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, and that really helps me find really cool, inspiring photos to kind of either recreate or build upon. So yeah, Pinterest, the LEGO sets that come out, definitely movies and TV shows. Those are really helpful in studying like compositions and also coming up with new ideas. Shrek. How dare you? How did you start to take photos? I started taking photos back in 2019 when I was doing a photo design project, which is basically just graphic work at high school. And we had to create a mood board of just, you know, various things that kind of inspire us. And I felt like taking a photo of Lego for the very first time. And I borrowed my brother's Canon 700D, used that to take my very first Lego image, which is this one right here. And immediately upon taking that photo, I was hooked right away. And ever since then, I've been taking LEGO photos for almost 7 years. So that's how I started. Have you ever lost a LEGO piece in a trip? True nightmare. Yes. I've only lost a few small insignificant pieces that I could find later on in my bins, but I haven't lost any LEGO figures yet, which is very, very lucky. So I don't want to jinx it. I really don't want to jinx it. How did you become so good at taking LEGO pictures, and how long did it take? First off, thank you very much. What I consider good LEGO photography is creating stories and also just creating for a pleasing image. When I first started, I could barely nail focus on my images, which was like terrible. But as time went on, I got a little bit better at compositions, also creating a story. So I think it was just from studying compositions. So basically how you frame the shot and also just basic camera settings really helped me in creating better photographs. There's tons of tutorials online and also on my channel on how to take, you know, decent LEGO photos. photos. I mean, I'm still learning as I go. I feel like Lego photography has like an endless train of like things that you can do with it. So I'm consistently still learning when it comes to Lego photography, but I would say I started getting decent at Lego photography maybe honestly last year. I'm gonna be brutally honest. Like, I feel like my photos started getting a little bit more better because they're, you know, showing a little bit more story. I was photographing the landscape a lot better and just creating compositions that were a lot more enticing, because I used to shoot all my Lego photos just like bang in the middle. But last year I started experimenting with, you know, setting them to the left and the right and just using the rule of thirds. So yeah, it took a while until I personally felt like, you know, I was getting a little bit better. What is your camera setup? I'm very glad you asked. So right now I'm shooting on the Canon R8, which is a mirrorless camera, using the 28-70 f2.8. That's how I usually shoot all my videos. It's a nice wide angle lens, and I also have a polarizing filter on it so that it cuts out reflections, which is important for not only Lego photography but also car photography as well. And while I'm talking about the camera I shoot on, I'll show you all the other things that I use. So I use this little bag. I forget the name of it, but I'll put it in the description. I use this bag mostly for small trips where I only need to fit in like a few things. It has a nice little compartment at the bottom and also the top. I've had this camera bag for almost 5 years now, and it has been super helpful. But as my, you know, camera gear got bigger, I needed a bigger bag. So I then moved on to this chunky boy, which is when I will take basically all my camera gear, fit it into here. So it's got a huge compartment in here, which is perfect for, you know, a small Lego set, and then big compartment right here which can fit all my lenses and my camera and lighting, or small lighting and all that. So that's really helpful for, you know, big trips where I need all my gear. So when it comes to gear, I usually take the Canon 100-400. This is such a good lens for wildlife photography, and also getting some macro shots of my Lego figures. Creates for nice compression. I'll list everything that I'm talking about in the description below so you can check it out if you want. And I recently got my hands on the 85mm, which has got a macro feature, which has been freaking awesome to work with, and I cannot wait to use this lens more this year, because I only got it at the end of last year, and you can just see from these photos I was able to get some really cool shots. So definitely going to be using this a lot more. And then if I'm getting any high angle shots or drone footage, I use the DJI Mini 2. I haven't really used this a whole lot last year, but I'm planning on using it a little bit more this year and having a little bit more fun creating more cinematic pieces. And I have some ND filters on the front of it just when I'm shooting the ocean and stuff, so there's not too much glare. As far as microphones go, I usually use the DJI Mic 2 for my talking videos when I'm inside like this, and if I'm not using that, I'll use this microphone right here for outside stuff. The quality on both is really great, but I just prefer to use the DJI ones inside because it just sounds a lot nicer, and I can put it right next to my chest and just have better audio basically. Very, very soon, I'm gonna be starting to use this right here. This is the Insta360 Ace Pro 2 action cam, and I'm gonna be using this a lot for mostly POV footage and just showing how I basically shoot my Lego photography, which I'm really excited about. So be on the lookout for that. We're gonna do so many POV videos this year, it's gonna be nuts. As far as lighting goes, I sometimes use the Ulanzi little pocket lights here. They're really helpful if I'm in the forest and I need a little bit of light on specific characters. Really small, they're really cheap, and they're really bright, which is perfect for Lego photography. And then if I'm shooting inside, I'll be using the Ulanzi bi-color light. This is always perfect for, again, shooting videos like this or shooting in my garage where I'm doing dioramas or indoor scenes. So yeah. Oh yeah, and for my film photography, I use the Pentax point and shoot camera. I mean, this is just like your standard point and shoot film camera. It's been really great for film photos. It's from 1993, it was my dad's one, and now I'm using it a lot. And then recently got my hands on the Vito CL 1963 manual camera. This thing is really cool. Very difficult to shoot with, but very cool. You do all the settings by hand, and it's got a little light meter at the top, and it's a lot of fun to shoot with. I've been successful here and there, but It is brutal. I've never got a full roll perfect before, so it's a lot of fun shooting on film. And then sometimes I'll use this little Manfrotto tripod. I've literally had this for 6 years and it's been so reliable. It's been in sea, water, sand, snow, everything, and is still kicking. So highly recommend tripods like these. They are just a savior. So yeah, that's what's in my camera bag as a Lego photographer. And by the way, you don't need all this fancy gear. Like, you don't need multiple lenses to do Lego photography. You can use literally whatever you want. I used to shoot on my Canon 700D and that always struggled to pull focus, but once I pull focus, I was able to get photos like these. So gear's not too much of an issue when it comes to Lego photography, but because I'm doing more things than just Lego photography, I do need quite a bit of gear to produce the photos and videos that I want to do for you guys. How do you get your figures to stay upright? This is a good question. So usually it just comes down to balance for me, or I'll use like the Lego rods that are clear pieces and stick them to their legs, and then I'll plant them either in the ground or a tree. There's another method where you can kind of like prop up a Lego figure in some sort of environment and use the environment to hold them up. So you can like either push the grass or the dirt into the back of their feet to keep them standing upright, or you'll use moss or like, you know, little rocks to hold them up. I don't really like to use blue tack because it's a mess. I'll only use blue tack if I'm attaching something to their back or something like that. Like when I did this Lord of the Rings eagle photo, I used blue tack on the back of Gandalf to hold Bilbo there. But yeah, usually balance or sticking something into their legs into the ground is always really helpful. What's your favorite photo of all time? That is really tough. I think the one that stands up to me first is this astronaut photo. I remember doing this almost 2 years ago, and I think it's the most excited I've ever been for a photo, simply because I was stunned that I was able to take a photo like this. I didn't even think it was possible. Definitely that photo. My Mordor photo, that's definitely up there, just because of like the whole cinematic piece that went along with it, the journey for it, and also just the execution. I think it could have been a little bit better, the execution. Like there's a bit of cloud on the mountain, but I still think it's really, really cool. And probably this photo back here, the eagle photo. This was special because it was my first collaboration with a company and I got to take Lego photos, which was really cool. This photo actually raised $1,000 for conservation efforts down in Doubtful Sound, which made it a lot more meaningful. So yeah, I feel like these 3 photos are definitely my favorite photos of all time, but it kind of changes as the years go on, you know, what my favorite photos are, but I think those are definitely highlights. If you could take photos of anything other than Lego, what would you shoot? Probably wildlife. I always really enjoy taking photos of the birds here in New Zealand. It's always really cool to see how they interact with the environment here, because it takes a little bit more patience as well. It's not something that you set up yourself. I think that's always really fun. It's kind of like hunting and fishing. Like you kind of have to wait for that perfect opportunity to, you know, get what you want. Half the reason I do Lego photography is I get to go outside and experience incredible things such as the wildlife and the scenery and stuff. So I think wildlife photography would be my go-to if I wasn't doing Lego photography. Have you ever bought Lego you regret buying for photos? If so, which one and why? This is actually a really good question. I think the one set that I regretted buying at the time was the Lego A-frame cabin, because I tried my best to get some good photos of that and I just wasn't happy with it. But then like 10 months later, I returned to it and kind of revisited that idea and was able to get some really cool photos. I don't think there's really any Lego that I regretted buying for photos, but there definitely been sets that I've bought where I'm just like, oh, I feel like I can only shoot it once sort of thing, and you know, that's it. But again, like if I can get a couple photos out of it, I'm always really happy. So how do you find epic places to shoot your Lego? I'm usually just location scouting on Google Maps. It's because Auckland is quite a small city. We've got, you know, coastal areas and then we've got inland and all that. It's quite easy to find locations that work for the specific genres of photography that I do within Lego. So if I'm doing, you know, R2D2 on the beach, I can kind of look at all the beaches and choose the best one. If I'm doing forest photography, I look for the nearest forest, and it kind of works that way. I very rarely go to a location to scout it out first and then return. I'll usually just go out there and just kind of hope for the best. It's only been a couple times where I've gone to a location and been like, oh, this is really shit. But yeah, just a lot of Google and also just, you know, past experiences of traveling around Auckland. Love your artwork / photographs. Where can I buy it? Thank you. At the moment, I am currently working on prints. I've got a website set up on my Instagram where you can sign up to the email list for when I supply them. I'm going to be doing prints in 2026. That is an absolute promise. I'm going to have like a few series of prints, such as, you know, Middle Earth series, Star Wars series, you know, that sort of thing. And I'm going to be doing some pretty cool prints. If you have any suggestions for what kind of prints you want to see, feel free to leave them down in the comments and I will definitely look at that. Would you ever try Minecraft Lego photography? Now, I've had this idea idea for a while, but I just don't know how it'd work until I do it, sort of thing. Because like, you know, Minecraft has a very specific art style to it, and it's not like Star Wars where, you know, they're shooting in real life locations. For a Lego character, it looks like it works, but with Minecraft characters, it's kind of like people are used to seeing it in that Minecraft like art style. So I don't know how it would work or how it'd look, if it would resonate with people very well. But I'm definitely open to trying it. If I see a, you know, Minecraft set that I'm like, yeah, this is really cool, I'll definitely go shoot it. I've got it on my list of like Lego sets that I might look into this year for sure. Those are all the questions I have for today. I hope those were useful. It's been a minute since I've done a sit-down Q&A. I hope this one is a lot better. I feel like I've got a little bit more energy than last time. Still getting used to talking to a camera and all that. If you have any other further questions, let me know. Like the video, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Be prepared for 2026 because we've got so much planned. You have no idea. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.